And last but not least, since we haven't talked about movies in this episode here, yeah, let me talk about Five Nights at Freddy's, right? I'll keep this one kind of short, guys, because I saw this
Yes.
on the day,
Kind of hard.
actually, on the day that it was released on digital, right? I.e.
Right.
Peacock, right? And yeah, Ricardo, what they say there, it's bad. It's bad, right?
Yeah, this
So
was kind of
here's the
hard.
thing, right? Here's the thing, right? So I actually never played the Five Nights at Freddy's games, right?
Right, me neither.
I do know, I kind of marginally familiar as to what it's about, right? But
Right.
just because of stuff like Willy's Wonderland, which I hated, right? Which starred Nicolas Cage, and what was basically trying to be Five Nights at Freddy's, but I guess the studio, I forget if it was Universal or whatever, right? 'Cause I know Universal is behind this one. Like
Right.
whoever studio didn't really have the rights to Freddy's to FNEF, so he just did their
Right.
own version of it, but they use Nicolas Cage just tell this one joke over and over and over.
Right.
Yeah. So didn't care for that at all, right? I know there was
Right.
that Banana Splits movie which was trying to
right.
be like that, but I didn't see it. I
Same,
hear it was
same
bad.
bullshit, yeah.
Yeah.
Same bullshit, yeah.
But
Same bullshit.
The point I
It's
get that
doing this thing where okay, here's the thing. There's one of the classic cases of where stuff can't translate from video games to thing. The whole point of Five Nights at Freddy's, again, is the game itself. You have to figure out what's going on. So to tell the story from this perspective don't work. That way, it just fall flat completely, you know.
Yeah.
But the same thing with Banana Splits. This is a whole. We just talk about this with Subversion, right? Guys, if you're doing subversive thing, just showing a character as a badass. Look, it's not the fucking 90s with Bugs Bunny and them wearing urban wear, right?
Thank you.
Please stop this. Please stop this. This is not cute. It's not funny. I get why they sell, but they don't do anything with it. So it's like you're not saying anything interesting or doing anything interested in any meaningful way. So it's just nonsense, no. And that's what this is. This is just whoa, look at this childish thing in a dark framework. What are you gonna do? I'm like, all right, well, great.
Yeah,
but,
you're not
the
really
game,
telling me
now, to be
anything.
fair, to be fair, the game does a good job with that, where it actually gives a good atmosphere and telling the story. I can understand why the game is as popular as it is, right? Even though it's for kids, it still works for what it is. But this movie now totally don't seem to get this at all. And again, people of the game could probably say, they'll probably say how wrong or whatever it is. But from what I gather, it don't get in the spirit of the games at all.
Not surprised.
Yeah, and then it had a cameo by Matt Pat, if you know who that is. Because he's constantly talking about Five Nights at Freddy with all sort of theory stuff, and he's the game theory guy. He's the host of Game Theory.
Okay.
Popular YouTube channel, reasonably popular YouTube channel. He made a cameo. He's the waiter, I think. And I was like, oh, shit,
I read it up here now on Wikipedia. So okay, that's cool. That's cool.
So I was watching the scene. I was like, oh shit, Matt Pat make an appearance. Alright, cool. And it was just the most cringe cameo ever. But from what I understand, plenty people was liking the cameo and enjoying it. So like, alright, well, I mean,
that just flew past me. I didn't even know the guy. So yeah,
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
I'm not a fan. I'm not into this. So I don't know if what necessary to look for if I would enjoy it otherwise. No, I don't get that. I would enjoy this otherwise.
Right.
Whatever.
Right. So the point I was getting at with those reference with those two shows, right, is that if you were to tell somebody, right, just on paper, we're finally doing Five Nights at Freddy, we're finally doing this, right, we're releasing this for Halloween weekend, right, instantaneously you're gonna go into this film like I did, expecting some level of scares, right. And for me, I got little to none. That's like the major sin of this, right? It just wasn't scary, right? And the first red flag. The first red flag was the rated, right? So, me going off of Willy's Wonderland and the Banana Splits movie, I think a lot of people was thinking this show is going to be R, right? But the moment they say it's PG-13, and then the creators themselves come out and say, no, we did a great enough job to keep this PG-13. We wanted to be this way. It's still going to be scary nonetheless. Don't worry. I know a lot of people are going to go into this expecting this to be R, and it's going to be this R-rated version. But no. This is a version this is how it's supposed to be. You know what I mean? I like that. That was a big red flag for me, right? So. But even with the PG-13 rated, it just did little to nothing to scare me, right? It just did nothing, right? But again, just going back to the whole concept thing on paper, right? So yeah, once you see the premise, once you just have this baseline idea of what the premise is, right? Guy has to work at this rundown family entertainment center. He's working nights. These animatronic creatures are there and they come to life, right? That's a recipe right there for a solid, spooky time at the movies, right? That's what we want to
Right.
see, right? And there's moments where you do see that, right? So I do like how they set up like atmosphere in Freddy's itself, right? In that area itself, right? Especially involving the lead himself, Mike, who is played by Josh Hutcherson, right? And no disrespect to Josh, right? I mean, I don't know much of his work, right? But he seems to be a really decent and competent actor, right? But
Yeah.
like his character here was just so bland,
Terrible.
boy. Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
underwritten.
underwritten.
Yeah,
They set
terrible.
up this thing where he have, well, at first how it happened, without spoiling it, how it happened, which it just come out of nowhere, right? But he have this anger management issue because we learn earlier on in his childhood his brother, his little brother, could kidnap and all that kind of stuff. But they
Right.
linger on so much on that. And I get what they're trying to say, right? I get that they want to make us sympathize with the character. Oh, he's burned by, the loss of his brother, and now he's doing this weird dream logic thing, which is kind of cool, but they just hop on it so much now where he's trying to solve the mystery by dreaming the same dream every night and all that kind of stuff. But the
Right.
problem with that now visually is that it just becomes so redundant, and it's the same setting of a forest, and he's there with
Yeah.
his family, and the brother
Yeah.
is kidnapped, and blah 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 blah, right? And then it goes even further now because you see these 5 kids show up out of nowhere, and they all moving weird. So, oh my god, right? So understand it was set for Halloween, and it's Hollywood, it's horror, right? It's American horror, right? I have no problem with the ghost story, right? You know what I mean? It's a timeless
You're right.
trope when it comes to horror films, right? But oh my god, the weird kid who says nothing and runs away when you ask him a question, and then when you
Yeah.
show it in oh gosh, it's just so played out, right? And
Yeah.
it's so played out to the point that it's so, like, I don't know, like, I saw you have to be like, I don't know, like, how I can't even call with actual age, right? But the moment you see the 5 kids, right, and then you see the 5 animatronic creatures, yeah, you put 2 and 2 together. I mean, oh gosh, this
Right.
is not even a spoiler, right? The 5 kids themselves, the spirits, they are in those creatures, right? Okay, wow, right? All right, okay, you have the setup there. But you get no scares from that point on, right? They do
Yeah.
trial something here where you have these idiots. I'm not gonna say why they're there, right? They're trying to stop Mike. That's all I was saying. It was spoil anything, and they get killed. Like, okay, that it just kind of came and went basically, right? But
Right.
you're just there like wondering, well, okay, well, where the scares gonna come in, right? And for me, it gets worse now because again we have to expand on characters now. Mike have an autistic sister now, and she want to tag along with your brother for a night, and this subplot that goes nowhere about him having custody over her and all that kind of stuff, right? And that led to these guys going in to try to stop Mike, and they get killed, right? That's all I'll say, right? But then they do this weird thing, Dread, where she befriends the creatures, and then you realize that they themselves are being controlled by this bigger one, and then when you reveal who it is behind the scenes, you're
Again.
like, really?
Again, here's the problem.
Really?
Again,
I'll stop.
here's the problem. Game format. Here's the thing.
Uh-huh.
This is a typical trap you fall into, right? Video games, big video games or popular video games, already pull from movies in their narratives because they have a solid narrative, and you're playing a video game at the same time. That's the experience. But once you try to transform that back into movie, then you have to do something that references the game itself in the experience of the game,
Yes.
because the game has to add something to the culture. They never do this, right? So here's a decent example: Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat, the game, pulled from Enter the Dragon, right? But it's a video game you're playing. So now when you come back and do something with Mortal Kombat in a movie, you have to pull not only from Enter the Dragon, because that's the story you're telling, but also you have to pull stuff from the lore of Mortal Kombat in meaningful ways. As in, hey, look at this cool thing from the game that's known from the game, aka the bicycle kick from Mortal Kombat video games, right? Bicycle kick in the Mortal Kombat movie was pretty awesome. That's why that worked. I don't think Mortal Kombat is a perfect movie or this is a perfect example, but you get the point, right?
Yeah, I do.
I don't gather. Because I never play the games. I don't. But I'm not getting a sense that there's a unique or specific experience. Again, some Five Nights at Freddy fanboy, somebody who playing this game and familiar with the material, could tell me where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But when I was looking at this thing, at no point I got the sense that it was even trying to do this in
Yeah.
that meaningful way. And then
And
on top of that, now
uh,
they're still telling a half-ass horror story, right?
thank
That's
you.
not
Yes,
scary.
yes, yes. So
Yeah,
just a few things for you before I get to Rita, right? 'Cause I don't want to talk too long on this, right? But yeah, while I was watching this, right, I was trying to care, boy. But yeah, I would admit, while I was watching this show, I kind of forgot at times that this was based off of a video game. That it just felt like we're just taking these ghost story tropes from what you've seen
yeah,
countless times from other movies, and almost to the point, right? That I myself was questioned, is this really from the game? The stuff with the five
right.
kids disappearing, that's from the game? The reveal of
Apart.
who the main villain is, that's from the game?
I couldn't.
The
Here's the
lead,
main thing.
is
I
he
couldn't.
from the game? I don't even
Here's
know.
the thing.
I
I
don't know.
couldn't because the conversation around Five Nights at Freddy not interesting. I could not give a shit to look this up. Right? I watched a movie and I went and sleep. Right?
Yeah, yeah, me too. I actually watched
Yeah,
this the Friday night when it dropped, and I
yeah,
like legit just forgot about it the day after. So I just pull it
yeah,
from memory, right?
literally. Yeah,
I'll wrap up here in a bit, right? But yeah, because the story was just so uninteresting and just not scary, I just found myself kind of wondering, well, is this
yeah.
again the whole video game adaptation story? Are they trying to build a story around what I assume was a
I have
simple
no idea.
premise from the game to make us care? Because it just felt totally different from how I assume the game was now. But maybe I
Yep.
just had to watch a gameplay video for me to understand. But why should I have to
Right.
go through all that though? Because even as
Exactly.
somebody who never played the game, the show itself did not feel like it was from the game. It felt like a weird version of it. Like, okay, like you have to justify everything that happens to the point that you just forget that it is from a game. You sort of dilute the story. You tell a different story in a sense, but with the same characters. That's how it felt like to me, right? But
Right.
if I could just give this a positive, right? I did feel like direction wise, well, this is from, let me see, this is from Emma Tammy, right? I'm assuming this is a debut feature, or maybe this is some like another film that she did, right? I'm not familiar with her work. I thought that directing wise, she did a good job. She did a good job, right? Also acting, not bad. Josh Hutcherson,
Right.
not bad.
Yeah,
But it's just his character was just so bland. I just couldn't care for him, right? But not bad, right? But just the promise of it, right? The promise of it being, because what I really wanted at the end of the day was sort of like a haunted house kind of thing, right? You're trapped there for you're there for 5 nights, and it's these creatures just doing spooky shit. That's really what I wanted to see. I did not come to see Mike. I did not come to see Mike do this sort of dream logic thing and trying to figure out where his brother is. I didn't come for that. I didn't come for Mike trying to take care of his sister Abby and custody battles. I did not come for that. I did not come for people who pointing fingers at Mike and say, "Oh, you're doing a bad job of being a god," and blah blah blah. That's where you have the police officer character of Vanessa, right? I didn't come for that. I came for somebody inside of this family place and weird animatronic creatures coming out and doing weird shit and probably killing a person too. That's what I came for. I did not get that. I got a little. I didn't even. I got a watered, bastardized version of that. And yeah, the end result was not just a dull and boring and uninteresting horror film, but yeah, probably one of the worst shows I've seen all year, man. And I don't know. Again, like even though I am not a FNF fan, yeah, I just saw nothing in this though. Like I didn't see what the big deal was with it at all, right? I'll close this. Apparently you're doing gangbusters in the box office. So I mean that's cool. I'm glad I'm making money.
fine.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
nice, but that'll change the fact that it just sucks, right? And again, I should say this just last thing as written, right? The big red flag for me. I also remind me of Halloween Ends as well too, right? Where you're not just releasing this show theatrically, you're also dropping this thing on Peacock a day after the movie release, right? That should have been the biggest red flag for me, Dred, because yeah, I feel sorry for anybody who's spending money to see this, but I feel so sorry for y'all, boy. And even worse for those who probably sat home and suffered through it like I did, boy. Well, I can't really say suffer. It was just me fighting sleep, trying to keep my eyes awake, trying to keep my eyes open, trying to stay interested. But I'm sorry, this was just a slog from start to end, man. So yeah, rating wise, I'm gonna give this a 2 out of 5. I want my money back. And no, I didn't spend money to see it in cinema, but I still want my money back. I want my time back. It took me about 2.5 hours to watch. I kept taking breaks because I just found myself just being distracted. But I still want my time time and my money back, man. This was a utter disappointment, man. Anyway, your final thoughts are rated.
Yeah, this was just fell flat for me. I mean, I couldn't get into it. It not roping me into the world of the Five Nights, wherever it is the thing. It not really scratching any itches that I had in terms of like this kind of content for horror, and it does fall into the usual kind of dumb trappings for horror, in my humble opinion. So I was and the main problem is I was bored, right? I was simply bored, and I forget about it. Yeah, 3 out of 10.